My Ring doorbell keeps telling me motion detected when nothing is there. Now that I've seen what it is, I don't know what to do. Every morning since my wife and I installed the doorbell, I've gotten the motion detected notification at 3:37 a.m. It's been years since this started, and every morning it's the same. I check the recording from the night prior and nothing is there. I've driven myself insane zooming into the video and trying to see anything. A cat, a raccoon, a person, but it's always nothing. Early this morning, I heard something scratching at our door. It sounded like a dog that needed to be let in. I heard this for a moment and then it abruptly stopped. I was about to get out of bed and check the front door when my phone lit up the bedroom. The notification motion detected showed clearly on my phone under the time 3:37. I pulled up the footage and all was still. Nothing there. I attempted to go to sleep, and it was worthless, so I got up and sat on the couch staring at my phone. Around 5 a.m. I got another notification. Motion detected sent chills down my spine in the dark living room. This time something was visible behind my car in the driveway. Crouched behind the trunk of my car was a dark figure. The only detail fully visible from the camera was long nails, digging into the paint on the side. The rest of it was dark. Thin shins leading into bony knees were only seen as black against the gray of the concrete. Upon zooming in, I saw this thing just barely rocking side to side. I figured it was a person, so I gathered my courage and opened the front door, ready to scream at them to get away from my car. I started to yell, and my voice died immediately. Nothing was there. Confused and sure I saw something, I tagged back to my phone and pulled up the live camera. The only thing visible to the camera was teeth. Yellowed, large, and what appeared to be far too many. The dark red gums were bleeding into the front teeth as the owner of them seemed to laugh. I looked at my phone in horror, not sure what to do. When I broke my frozen state, I grabbed my kitchen knife and ran at the front door. I had my phone in my left hand, and I kept looking at this creep as it began licking the lens, causing a filter of spit to blur out the camera. I took a deep breath and threw the door open with my knife ready to go. Nothing there. I dropped my guard and looked at my phone. I assumed someone was playing a prank on the camera. When I looked at the live footage, there he was, fully visible, although blurry, staring directly at me. His cheeks pushed into his dead eyes as he held the smile. The way his eyes stayed forward and just moved with the turn of his neck made me freeze. I dropped the knife. I put both hands onto my phone and held it close to my face, staring at this image of something clearly staring from my doorbell. I would look from my phone to the scene in front of me. Still, nothing was visible in real life, but the footage on my phone said otherwise. I slammed the front door and picked up the knife I had dropped. I stayed still, staring at the live camera. He was gone, nothing there. I continued intensely looking, my chest rising and falling at the pace of a scarred animal. Just as I was about to give up looking at the live feed, notifications exploded on my phone, alerting me someone was ringing the doorbell. Notifications replaced other notifications, covering the top portion of the screen on my phone. I tried to exit the app, but the notifications covered my lock screen as well. The ringing doorbell was heard outside, blasting its signature tune. Motion detected. Motion detected. Motion detected. You're going to die. Motion detected. I rubbed my eyes and tried to keep up with the notifications. I closed and reopened the app again, and all the notifications stopped. I checked the motion history in the app, and it was all there, abruptly ending after 5 a.m. I was so confused and scared I just stayed on the couch with my phone and knife in hand. After an hour of no notifications, I finally found the courage to open my front door. The door opened too easily. Right as I turned the doorknob, the door swung inward. I looked at the door first, shocked it swung open so quickly. Then I spotted the dead hand which lay on it and the curled-over fingernails that left deep scratches into the wood. I could finally see him. Decaying flesh led to wrist, which led to arms skinny and rotten. I finally looked into his face. He was licking his front teeth quickly, holding the same smile I saw earlier on camera. It was so much worse in real time. Earlier on camera he looked haunting, blurry, but he was so clear standing right in front of me. He was 2 feet away. I noticed how sunken his eyes were. I noticed how wide his smile really was, literally grinning from ear to ear. His shoulders and neck were shrugged up in a rigid stance. All he did was continue to hold the door with one arm and stare at me while licking his teeth, quickly. I tried to pry the door shut, but my attention was forced to his blackened tongue, running back and forth over his front teeth. I tried desperately hard to close the door, but he stayed unmoving. I realized I had left the knife on the end of the couch. I had to act, so I made a move for the knife as fast as possible. I turned to quickly grab it. When I turned around and swung wildly, the blade connected with nothing. I slammed the door into place. My wife exited our bedroom and rubbed her eyes. "What's going on? Is everything okay?" I didn't know where to start. I just started talking and tripping over my own words. Her eyes grew wide, and she pulled out her own phone to check her Ring app. She almost dropped her phone while looking at all the notifications. She pulled up the videos and screamed out when she saw him. I hugged her and tried to comfort her. Still hugging me, and behind my back, she kept clicking and watching the motion-detected notifications. I felt her tense up. She whispered into my neck, "He hasn't left." I broke the hug and grabbed her shoulders. "What did you just say?" "Look." She showed me the last motion captured on the doorbell. He was holding the door open, and you can hear me struggling to close it. You can see in the video the exact moment I turn to quickly grab the knife. He simply steps inside and the recording ends. Staring at the phone's end of recording message, I began to feel something behind me. I let go of my wife and turned quickly. Nothing there. I went to the knife and picked it up before I turned to see him. I faced back towards my wife to tell her we needed to check the house. There he was, holding her from the side, pinning her arms to her ribs. I saw horror fill her face as his black tongue licks from her jaw, up her cheek, and to her temple. He was still staring at me, and still smiling even with his tongue out of his mouth. My wife screamed loudly, and it called me into action. My grip tightens on the knife. I lunge and I grab him by the collar. I plunge the knife into his shoulder, barely avoiding cutting my wife. My wife helps, and we have a strong enough hold onto him to drag him across the vinyl flooring to the front door. The thing begins laughing as we drag him. He's not making noise or moving his eyes. He's just silently laughing and breathing heavily with that crazy smile. We finally managed to get him to the front door and throw him out. My wife and I slam the door and slide the deadbolt into place. We called the cops immediately. We watched the Ring camera until the police showed up, but still, nothing. We showed them all the footage and they said they would try and find him. We haven't heard anything all day. At 8 p.m. our doorbell notified us it was low on battery, so I went to switch it out. When I popped the battery out, there was something that was carved into it with what appeared to be fingernails. "See you tonight."